Is the Springfield Armory XDM Elite Compact 10mm the ideal backcountry bear defense pistol? This is Mark Laughlin speaking for the ambidextrous gunfighter. Despite being from Wyoming, mountain biking regularly in Grizzly country, and some decent knowledge of firearms, I'm really not up to speed on bears. You know, I follow a nature photographer, a mountain girl and hunter, Tessa Fowler, on social media. She's not too far from where I live. As well as Bridget Fabel, sportswoman, YouTuber, and she also has some great articles at the Armory Life. Links will be down in the description. And both are far better versed than I am on dealing with bears. So, to get up to speed on bears, I contacted the large carnivore biologist with the Wyoming Fish and Game. The info I received was quite interesting. Details on that will be in the description. But for me, the most pressing thing to learn about bear encounters is the bear exhibiting predatory or aggressive defensive behavior. One's just kind of defending their territory, the other one, they're thinking to eat you. I'm not too keen on that latter one. The video from the Wyoming Fish and Game does an excellent job to help you identify the difference. It is not to be missed and is important for establishing the context of this review. The XDM Elite Compact 10mm stats. It is 1 1/4, or actually 1.22 inches wide, and that's where I actually do a sample, a 4-point sample on the pistol, starting at the muzzle, then above the trigger, and then over top the slide releases, and then back at the beaver tail. And then I average those 4 measurements, and that's what I come up with, my 1.22 inches wide. The pistol weighs 796 grams without the mag well and with an empty magazine. It is 1,044 grams with 1 loaded mag plus 1, excluding the optic. Now, one of my primary carry pistols is the Kel-Tec P17. So let's look at the opportunity cost of carrying, say, this XDM Elite versus the Kel-Tec P17 as my normal backcountry carry, or mountain bike carry actually. The P17 with 17 rounds is 418 grams. A loaded P17 magazine is 79 grams. So therefore, a P17 with 9 magazines total, that's 145 rounds, is equal in weight to the 10mm pistol with just one 11-round magazine. So, you know, there's trade-offs. Capacity versus stopping power. Now, another thing I like to dwell on or look at, examine, is the Applegate grip ratio. It's something I made up and named it after Rex Applegate, the point shooting advocate, and also author of Kill or Get Killed. Anyway, the width of the grip on this pistol is 1.265 inches, and the length is 2.15 inches, length from front to back. That makes for a rather squarish grip ratio of 1.7, which is similar to the Hellcat. The feel of this pistol reminds me of the FNS9C, but it is about 4 ounces heavier. The XDM and the rest of the Hellcat line and the Hellion are all imported from Croatia. The XDM Compact is a 10mm derivative of the HS product SF-19, that is their Special Forces line. I've been very impressed with the quality of the Croatian HS product firearms. Now, something I just want to mention about Springfield Armory is their support of Hillsdale College's shooting team. Springfield could choose any college or university to support, and they chose probably the greatest, most pro-freedom, independent of government funding U.S. college. I'll include some links to the Armory Life stories on the Springfield Armory and Hillsdale College. So let's get back to the pistol here. The trigger. The XDM Meta trigger. That's match enhanced trigger assembly, I think. The XDM Meta trigger is an excellent striker fired trigger. Again, the quality of this trigger is largely made possible due to the striker block plunger being disengaged by vertical movement rather than simply dragging a trigger bar nub horizontally across the plunger. Similar to the SIG P365, where you got a trigger bar moving fore and aft, and you've got this pivot thing that as the trigger bar moves forward, it makes that pivot lift up, so a more vertical raising against the to disengage the trigger block. And so while it's similar to the P365, I think Springfield actually got better results, at least according to my MantisX data. There is not really a hard wall where the break occurs with just an increase in pressure, but rather a smooth pull through the wall into an actually excellent break. And oddly, the reset is definitely different. It's like 2 clicks. I call it the "we will rock you" rhythm. While I notice it when dry firing, I seem to miss the first click during live fire. So either the recoil is hiding, eliminating, or ghost resetting that first click for me. I've seen other reviewers have the trigger safety dongle break. Now, I've had no problems with lots of dry fire and some limited live fire. I even tried to generate an issue by pulling about 20 pounds of pressure on the trigger without engaging the trigger safety, and no problems, didn't break. Now, MantisX is a tool I use routinely to compare mini pistols and also for dry fire practice, and also it provides instruction during your dry fire practice. Highly recommend the MantisX device combined with a training laser. Here's a 10mm training laser, which you can get from iTarget. Now, the excellent trigger of the XDM translates to excellent MantisX dry fire scores. After over 320 MantisX dry fire drills, that's over 3,200 shots, the XDM has the highest scores of all of my centerfire test pistols and is second only to my rimfire Keltec P17. And like the P17, my left hand and right hand scores were almost identical with the XDM, less than 1% variation. The P17 and XDM are both well ahead of all the other AmbGun test pistols on these MantisX scores. Given the XDM's rather low grip ratio, these MantisX results are kind of almost sound like they're evidence countering my Applegate grip ratio hypothesis. That is that you're able to point shoot better with something that you can index and immediately know which direction the muzzle is on. That is, with something that's a grip that's more flat and more bladed. However, I think the MantisX results are largely due to the excellent trigger on the XDM, plus its extra weight that resists deflection. However, consistent with the grip ratio hypothesis, the P17 exceeds the XDM by about 1/2 point on average on the two-handed sighted MantisX benchmark scores. But the P17 nearly triples that gap for left hand and right hand one-handed point shooting. So the Applegate grip ratio hypothesis still looks to be applicable, just hidden in the data. That is, a grip ratio of around 2 or more allows the shooter to better index the muzzle when one-handed point shooting. Please continue to watch part 2 of Springfield Armory XDM Elite Compact 10mm, the most potent bear defense carry weapon. Cover, ergonomics, and grip safety.